Gillette, the best an incel can get.
It happened, guys. Gillette released an ad, and somehow everyone missed the point they were trying to make. All of my favorite YouTubers, well, most of them anyway, just said, "Oh, miss me with that point shit." Some people even took it as Gillette wants to take my guns. How? I find it really funny that his daughter doesn't have a gun. And if you just scroll down through the comments, never in my life have I ever seen so many liberals and conservatives just come together just to roast one dude. This is incredible. This is America united. But judging by the like to dislike ratio, a lot of people might still not understand. So let's dissect the video to see exactly what the outrage is about.
Okay, let's go through it.
Bullying.
The Me Too.
It hasn't even started, and the first thing, bullying. Hey, did you guys know? Only men bully. That's the only thing that happens.
So PewDiePie seems to believe that because the video is about toxic masculinity and the first thing they mention is bullying, that insinuates that only men bully. Now, I love PewDiePie. I grew up watching him since he played Dark Descent. I literally made an entire song about how his content literally saved my life. But this wasn't a very well thought out comment. We're all guys, right? Not assuming genders. If we are all guys, I'm sure we can all agree that there are stigmas against us that promote man up and don't cry or shed tears. And if you do these things, then the stigma promotes that if you do cry, then you're less of a man. If you do show your emotions, then you're less of a man. If you do this, you're less of a man. If you do that, you're less of a man. If you're watching this and you can agree that that stigma exists, then you understand why statistics like these, go ahead and pause if you need, link to all sources in the description. If you agree those stigmas exist, then you can understand why bullying is addressed in a video about toxic masculinity.
Bullying! Hey, did you guys know? Only men bully. That's the only thing that happens.
No, Felix, bullying isn't addressed in the video because only males bully. Bullying is addressed because due to the culture with the restrictive male stigmas that we grow up with, males view bullying and violence different than females. But hey, boys will be boys, am I right?
What I actually think she's trying to say.
So you have a lot of the same stuff, you know, in-work harassment, job stuff, like board meetings and everything. And I'm pretty sure for the most part, the vast majority of people know that that's wrong. You know, it's not really a thing that just men just don't get it. I'm like, I don't know, I thought I can do this. No, there's some scumbags out there. When you have a world of millions of people in concentrated areas, you're gonna see a lot of concentrated bullshit because there's a lot of people that are shitty. And so I think we've come a long ways as a society. I really do. I think things are getting a lot better. And I think it's kind of stupid to just put out videos like this, kind of assuming that things aren't getting better. It makes it look like, oh, what the hell? Like, but no, finally, because Gillette and Me Too is solving all the fucking problems.
I want you guys to take a minute to look at these statistics. Pause and play as you need. No, Derek, we're not the first humans in Africa or the cavemen that just bent women over rocks and just had at it. Nobody is suggesting that our society is that way. Obviously, we've made improvements. My issue with this argument is that you seem to believe just because we've made improvements as a society means that we don't have any room for any more improvement. This isn't the first time you've made arguments like this, Derek. I watch your channel. You make the same arguments about racism. You think that just because we've improved a lot as a society, which we have, that people's complaints and concerns about racism are just triggered SJWs. You even acknowledge yourself that there's room for improvement when criticizing Kendall Jenner's Pepsi commercial. And so did PewDiePie.
That's it. Pepsi has fixed everything. It's ended oppression. It has ended racism. That is fucking beautiful.
She's giving the police a Pepsi. Brilliant. Genius. Yes. Everyone is happy now. They solved everything. All you had to do was give him a Pepsi. Wait, you're telling me that this is the problem in all the riots? There's just not enough Pepsi.
You both acknowledge how dumb the commercial was and how police brutality can't be fixed by a damn soda can, which would mean you have to acknowledge that police brutality is even a thing in the first place. So why is this different? Why is it so hard to admit that we have room for improvement here?
Why they've chosen to virtue signal to the soy-filled market is beyond me, because most of the people who are going to respond positively to this ad haven't even started or may never experience body hair. Never experience body hair. Never experience body hair. Never experience body hair.
Please, guys, don't disagree with his opinion. Otherwise, you'll end up like me, with no hair and no dignity. So fucking dumb. Remember the male stigmas I was talking about earlier? The character arguments, the if you act or think a certain way, like using facts, logic, or research, that somehow makes you less of a male. I've actually dealt with these non-arguments a lot. You know, the argument that if you're black and you think a certain way, you're less of a black person, or sometimes you're not even black at all. Nope, they'll just completely revoke your black card if you don't think the way that they think a black person should think. I don't know. I guess I'm just a little bit confused because I thought this tactic of attacking someone's character was a libtard thing.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
That's right, evil men, and probably 75 to 90% of the customer base of Gillette, especially the high-priced Mach 3, which has been their stalwart for many years. Stop laughing it off and get better. You're a man, therefore you are bad.
Did I miss something?
We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
Guys, I don't know why, but I can't seem to put on this shoe. Get the wrong size? Oh, I'm gonna be so pissed if I spend all that money. It won't go on. Don't worry, guys. I'm sure if I just keep trying, it'll eventually just pry itself in there.
But something finally changed.
Did you actually...
Did you really just fail to trim that clip correctly? Look at this shit. If you play the shit in slow-mo, we can clearly see your blank face for a split second before you actually laugh. That shows that you planned that out and you didn't actually laugh. Now, I'm not sure what editing software that you use, but I recently just upgraded to Sony Vegas Pro 16, and it's pretty good. You should look into it. It could help you trim those edges a bit, you know, make your laugh sound a bit more genuine.
This is a 3-minute ad full of anti-male feminist propaganda. The exact opposite of what I want to hear from the company who sells me something extraordinarily interchangeable. What Gillette appears to not understand is that while most people can't boycott everyday items that they need, it's very easy to switch brands. With literally thousands of options to shave your face or legs or arms or pits or nips, whatever it is that you want to shave, there's a million options out there. It's literally no skin off my nose to toss out these razors and go find a new company who doesn't advertise like this, who doesn't apparently hate their customers.
So his two main arguments so far is the slogan "Boys will be boys" is anti-male, and he can buy another razor. Well, first of all, the idea that feminists saying boys will be boys is anti-male is just a lie. I mean, unless you're one of the leftist cucks you claim to hate and are suggesting that a biological fact is somehow anti-male or sexist. Let me spell it out for you, Mr. Quartering. You can't agree with the scientific statement that boys are boys and girls are girls, and then flex on transgenderism and gender dysphoria, and then get upset when feminists state that boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Girls will be girls. Thanks to two things called testosterone and estrogen, which make us have inherent differences in our thought process and our decision making. And as for you saying that you're not going to buy Gillette products anymore, that's just another non-argument sparked by how triggered you are. Go ahead, go throw away your Gillette razors and go burn your Nike shoes while you're at it. Just keep at it. I'm sure you can make those stocks go red. For a few seconds at least. So you can keep whining and bitching about how much you hate a company and their product online. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, big companies like Gillette and Nike, well, they're not Battlefield 5. And Battlefield 5 didn't even flop. People just like to oversaturate the big hit that their physical sales took. People don't want to talk about the digital sales that they made.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Could you imagine this ad if it were women need to hold women accountable? You know, like Hollywood. You know, like Asia Argento. You know, like the person I covered at Square Enix, a woman who bullied and ruined the life of a male subordinate.
I literally did not disagree with anything that you just said in that clip. Derek, aka SomeBlackGuy, did though.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
One thing I do want to say, that testimony of Terry Crews, I do applaud that, because him being this insanely huge guy, right, that was sexually harassed at a party or whatever he was at by another old dude that he worked with that was like a higher up. Takes a lot of guts to actually come out and say something like that, because there is a stigma when it comes to men getting sexually assaulted. 100%. That shit does get laughed off quite a bit.
How about this? How about we hold people accountable? How about we acknowledge that there is both toxic masculine and toxic feminine behaviors that can be improved upon? Women do rape men. It's wrong. We agree. I hope we do. Here's the part that's going to trigger you. 91% of rape and sexual assault victims are female, while only 9% are male. What do you think about body brutality? What about black on black crime? There's more black on black crime than body brutality. Now do you understand why Gillette targeted the ad towards men and didn't just say, everybody rapes everybody? I don't know what you're talking about. All lives matter. No, really, these niggas really managed to make an all lives matter version of this shit.
Wow, sweetie. Come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool, not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men,
and small.
I am strong.
Are they still bringing up catcalling like it's legitimately a thing? Like it's an actual problem? I have a feeling that if you polled women, by the way, look, catcalling, a little archaic, probably not going to pick up a girl that way, but I'd also be willing to bet that it's not universally hated, getting compliments. I don't know. I've never been catcalled. I've never actually even seen it happen.
I mean, I don't even need to respond to that point. I've been given all the ammo I need to disprove everything that you just said just from watching Derek's video.
I used to go out a lot when I was younger, you know, and women would say some really interesting shit to me. Sometimes I would get my ass grabbed because I was blessed or maybe even cursed with a big ass, and then so people want to fucking grab it. Never had a guy grab my ass, but I've had women grab my ass multiple times. One time, and I was fucking 14 years old going to the mall really quick, just so I can grab something and get out. There's a group of women that are clearly older than me, and one of them pinched my ass and they were giggling and shit. And what do you do in that situation? You can't do anything. You're not a fucking pimp when you're 14. You're not gonna go up to the women and be like, what's up, and like just motorboat all of them and shit. No, you're very vulnerable. And it's just like, that's a lot of stuff, and I imagine there's a lot of guys that can say the same things, but you know, we just deal with it in our own way because we also know that people don't really care about it that much. Now that's something that I would be interested in talking about, instead of shitting on men and saying, you toxic masculinity. No, I'd be like, hey dudes, we get you guys have some problems too. Let's join the fucking conversation. Like, join the conversation and let's talk about stuff, and maybe we can be cool, you know? Maybe we can actually act like we're equal and shit, but no, this acts like we're fucking dogs and we need to be taught.
To answer you, Derek, no, they are not excluding us from the conversation. They didn't say all men are trash or even insinuate such. If that was their goal, they wouldn't have featured Terry Crews. No, seriously, out of all the female celebrities that have been victimized that they could have used to brand this company, they picked Terry Crews. It really makes you think, doesn't it? I don't know, man. Maybe it's because they realize that all victims matter and the legitimacy of your story isn't determined or discriminated against by your sex.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
Oh yeah, let's shine a little beacon on Anna.
I'm fucking better than you.
Kasparian, because she is just the arbiter of how a person should behave well. You know, she represents women really well. That's a nice choice.
Please don't make me defend Anna Kasparian. Please no. Please. She didn't audition for this. They just used the clip. I watched the Young Turks. I don't agree with everything that they say or do by any means. They've attacked people's characters like I just criticized in this video. They deny Armenian genocide. The list goes on. However, the clip that they used of Anna was a clip from a story where they were covering Harvey Weinstein. They were reporting on and criticizing Harvey Weinstein. Which side of the political spectrum do you think Harvey was on? I'll wait. You know what you would all be saying if they didn't cover that story? Why didn't you cover Harvey Weinstein? Is it because he's a Democrat? That's how you would have been.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie.
Come on. I don't understand. What is the context here? Maybe I'm part of the problem. I don't get what the issue here is.
I don't want to go too in on PewDiePie. He's been a big inspiration to me. He's still a big inspiration to me. He has the most genuine and innocent viewpoint out of all the 3 YouTubers that I've showed so far. He's the one who's the least objectively wrong, at least. But let's go through some of his arguments that I took issue with.
Smile, sweetie.
Come on. I don't understand. What is the context here? Maybe I'm part of the problem. I don't get what the issue here is.
The issue of missing context is a concept that only exists in the real world, not in a writer and director's world where they want you as an audience member to receive a specific message. I did acting and directing as a kid in high school in California, and the one thing I learned is that when a director is really good at his or her job, and you'll realize this when you look at some of the greatest directors of all time, Quentin Tarantino, Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee. When and if a director is really good at his or her job, every little detail has meaning behind it and every little thing counts. They clearly wrote this dude as someone talking to a girl in a way that females don't necessarily like to be talked to. I mean, Derek gave a prime example of him being catcalled earlier in the video. The basic thought process that everyone seems to have in their response videos is, you're not allowed to criticize me. You're not allowed to criticize men unless you criticize everyone else as well. This argument is equivalent to the annoying little brother who gets caught doing something wrong by dad and then goes, well, older brother did it too. You should make older brother get in trouble as well because he did it too. He did it before I did it. First of all, you're a snitch. Second of all, you're a snitch. Third, just because your dad criticizes you for something that you're doing doesn't mean he hasn't in the past or isn't in the future going to criticize your sibling or siblings for doing the same thing.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie.
Come on. I don't understand. What is the context here? Maybe I'm part of the problem. I don't get what the issue here is.
All right, Leah. So me and you have known each other for about a month or two, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So if I randomly said to you, just from seeing you somewhere from afar or across the room or something, talking to people, and I said, "Smile, sweetie," how would you respond to that? Or how would that make you feel?
I'd be uncomfortable.
What is
the
happening?
Right way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool. Not cool, man. Never approach a woman. Not cool, man.
Did you approach women this way in Sweden before you met Marzia, Felix? I think there's a significant difference between "Hi, my name is Felix Schellberg. Nice to meet you," and "Yo." And then you literally tail and chase a woman that you've never met before in your life just to try to get some puss.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
Boys can't fight each other. Boys can't wrestle with each other.
This part I actually agree with Felix and Derek and disagree with Gillette. I'm not super mad at Gillette for putting this in the ad, but I just disagree because I grew up play fighting with my little brothers. I actually have personal experiences that both help and hurt Gillette's argument on this topic. When I was little, my dad used to play fight with me a lot, and it was a lot of fun. But one day, I actually did something bad, and so he went to go give me a spanking, but when he hit me with the first spank, I thought he was just playing. So I hit him back, and then he was like, and then he beat my ass. But aside from, play fighting with my brothers or play fighting with my dad, I've done things that I'm not necessarily proud of as I got older. I've had physical altercations with my brothers. I've had physical altercations with my dad. The part I disagree with Gillette on this ad is they try to make it seem as if it was the play fighting that made me grow up to hit my brothers or made me grow up to hit my dad, when it wasn't that at all. I hit my dad because I was angry at him for not being around that much as a kid, because he always had to work to put food on the table. And because he wasn't around that much when I was little, I wasn't very fond of the idea that I had to do everything that he asked of me whenever he asked it of me. And so there was a lot of resentment and a lot of lack of respect there. The reason I hit my brothers is because I got tired of them being disrespectful to me and to my dad. Ironic, I know. These all happened at different times. I hit my brothers way before the situation with my dad. My argument against my dad whenever he would get on me for hitting my brothers was, well, you hit them to get them to respect you, so why can't I? And I think a lot of times parents can confuse respect with fear. And so if that's how I was taught, then of course I would confuse respect with fear. We grew up in a house where my sister was never hit or abused like we were. And so all four of us, my older brother included, grew up with the idea in our heads that it was normal for men to hit men, but when it came to violence and women, that was completely off limits. Which of course I agree with the latter. I just don't necessarily believe that normalizing male on male violence is a good thing either. But the ad in this scene seems to be criticizing play fighting and not actual violence. I used to play fight with my sister as well. I would never win because she's 5 years older than me, but I did. And at no point in my life did I ever think, oh, I used to play fight with my sister, therefore the next time she pisses me off, I'm going to beat her ass. When I hit my dad and brothers, it was all specific reasons that made me do those things. Abuse, neglect, resentment, disrespect, all things that aren't even male exclusive to begin with. It wasn't play fighting that made me do those things. I don't know. I just think that the scene with the dad breaking up the two kids play fighting, I think that was a bit misguided. However, I do respect the fact that you showed like adults breaking up actual fights. That I agreed with. Final argument. You guys didn't actually think I was just gonna roast 3 YouTubers in this video, did you?
Gillette, the best an incel can get. I watched the commercial, so you don't have to. It also made it clear that white men are particularly rapey. In fact, nearly all the bad guys are white, and nearly all the real men are, well, not white. In fact, throughout the whole commercial, 43 males exhibit undesirable behavior, 42 of them are white, with just 1 black. 7 males exhibit desirable behavior, 5 of whom are black and only 2 white.
Paul, you are the only person that I know of who found a racial issue with this video. Is this white guy right here representing a good white guy breaking up the 2 kids play fighting? He's not white. He's Asian. And this black guy right here saying boys will be boys representing the problem, he's not actually black. He's dark white. It's a trick we learned with lighting in film class where if you light someone a certain way, you can change their race. Even give them an afro. That kid right there starting a fight, he's Irish. Those goddamn Irish kids, up to no good in the hood. Paul always talks about statistics when supporting his own arguments, but he doesn't want to use them now. The U.S. white population is 63%, 77 if you include Hispanics that identify as white. Blacks only represent around 13 through 14% of the population.
43 males exhibit undesirable behavior, 42 of them are white, with just 1 black. 7 males exhibit desirable behavior, 5 of whom are black and only 2 white.
Paul's math is wrong. Going through the video, I counted a total of 4 blacks being portrayed as bad and something around 53 whites being portrayed as bad. And then for the good, I rewinded and went back and counted from the beginning, and I counted a total of 6 blacks being portrayed as good with a total of 3 whites being portrayed as good. 9 if you count all the white men reporting next to Anna Kasparian. Now, to be fair to Paul's argument, I did the math. And when using the population percentage and comparing it to the amount of good and bad whites being portrayed in the ad versus good and bad blacks being portrayed in the video, the actual chance or probability of events like this occurring in real life along these exact racial lines is pretty fucking low. But realistically speaking, I don't think the director had a mathematician next to him going, okay, the white population is 77% and the black population is 14%. Therefore, you need a total of this amount of whites and this amount of blacks, Mr. Jameson. I'm sure they just generally use common sense and went, oh, there's more whites than there are blacks in the U.S., and they just went with that. These right-wingers seem to view this as a sort of racial dog whistling. You know, the
super predators, no conscience, no empathy.
Because the ad portrays a lot of bad whites and a decent amount of good blacks. But when you look at actual historical examples of dog whistling, this doesn't make any sense. Historically, if you wanted to create propaganda against a group of people, you don't include any reason for them to be seen as a positive in said propaganda. There were 3 to 9 good whites in this Gillette ad. There were 0 good blacks in Birth of a Nation. Why? Because even if they were just to put 1 good black person in Birth of a Nation, that would insinuate and create the idea that not all black people are evil rapists, which is not the message that they wanted to promote back during those times. In Arnold Schwarzenegger's 1994 True Lies that came out around the time of the Gulf War, all of the bad guys in the movie were of Middle Eastern descent, and there were no good Middle Easterners represented in the movie. Because they knew that if they put a good Middle Eastern guy in the movie, it would go against the message that they wanted to promote at the time, which was all Middle Easterners are terrorists. When Hitler spoke during his speeches, I'm pretty sure he never said, Jews are bad. Not all of them, but a lot of them are bad. Because if he did, then the Germans would have believed that good Jews existed. Then they only would have killed 3 million.
I am strong. I am strong.
Look, it's a black guy. They show a black guy actually raising his child responsibly, something that isn't a mathematical reality in the United States. And Paul is just like, Gillette, how could you? How dare you? How dare you virtue signal that black men need to take care of their children?
Here's the thing. Rapists aren't going to be discouraged from raping people because you told them rape was bad. Like, imagine in the future some guy's ripping some poor woman's clothes off, but then he suddenly stops and becomes all remorseful because that Gillette ad from a few years ago flashed across his mind. So all this does is insult the intelligence of men who are never going to be sexual abusers or rapists.
Because you have to be retarded or mentally disabled to rape someone. Paul, rape is a subculture deemed as acceptable in certain cultures and sometimes certain households. Rape is not a crime committed by measurement of a person's intellect. People aren't born rapists. You'll always find something happen in someone's life that caused them to grow up thinking that such behavior was okay.
The Gillette ad also decries boys being boys, discouraging rough and tumble play in an effort to reduce bullying and harassment, which is only going to have the effect of turning boys into pussies, increasing the chances they'll be bullied and harassed. There's no stigma around depression. We're constantly bombarded with people talking about their depression on social media, on TV, in entertainment. It's everywhere. And the more we obsess about it and normalize it, the worse it gets. Telling men that their natural biological impulse to behave like men, which is to be stoic and strong-minded, is innately wrong, will only increase depression.
Paul, have you ever actually been a fan of PewDiePie, or are you just subscribed to him due to his controversies?
Oh, fuck that.
PewDiePie is a prime example that men can be however the fuck they wanna be and still turn out fine. He's got a hot fiance, soon to be wife, who he met over Facebook, living over 2,000 kilometers away from her. You know, the thing that college dropout, mom's basement incels do? Way to flex on someone you're subscribed to, Paul.
Because women aren't attracted to pussies.
This is number one.
Okay.
This is number two. Which one do you prefer?
Number 2.
Listen, guys, this Gillette controversy is really fucking stupid. I'm honestly making way too long of a video on this shit. Here's a quick interview of my dad, someone who could hardly give a shit about politics because, like I said, he's always working anyways. So here's an unbiased opinion so you can all see how a normal person not swayed by politics would naturally just react to the video. Here you go.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy? What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie.
Come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men.
and small.
I am strong. I am strong.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay? Okay.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
So what was your genuine reaction to the video?
Initially, I thought it was a little bit... I was thinking, are they serious with this shit? And then as the video went on, I realized that it was actually a really positive message and that it was well thought out. So whoever...
So for you, it started out as like sort of a meme, sort of them oversaturating certain stereotypes, I guess, and then it turned into...
Yeah, sort of like that. So basically, as it started out, I thought that... Well, look, let me just put it this way to summarize my thoughts on it, that it basically was a barrage of images that does well to explain how the average man feels in today's society, where the word masculinity is always being challenged. It's like you get a lot of mixed messages about what the limits of manhood are. And that obviously evolves over time because we come from a society that is primarily powered by white males, where we want to have other males be able to participate in that power structure, but yet the society doesn't also include in that progress as far as what women are supposed to do. Whereas with women, they feel as though they should have the right to be treated equally in the workplace and all other aspects of society that men do, which is true. But it's obvious that women and men are different body-wise and thought-wise and all those other ways that men and women are that truly make us different and not equal. Mm-hmm. Well, this commercial...
I said something similar already in the video, by the way.
Okay. So this commercial does well to show at the beginning how men think about the women, about the empowerment of women and how that affects us as men. But it also evolves into a positive message about men being responsible for ourselves and taking back control the image that men should have of their fellow man. As far and that even extends in how we raise our sons and how we present ourselves in society in general. So whoever came up with that campaign should be promoted.
What would you say if I told you that this video is sitting at 675,000 likes to 1,000,000.2 dislikes?
Then I would say that a lot of people do not understand that the message in that commercial.
That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below. I like debating. I do my best to try to answer everybody's questions in the comments and talk to everybody. But with that being said, till next time, peace.